The Blue Jays hit the road for a 4-game swing against the Minnesota Twins, starting tonight, of course. And the Minnesota Twins coming into the game were 8-4. A very, very young season, obviously, but an 8-4 record ain't that bad. And for the Toronto Blue Jays coming into the game, they were 5-11, obviously not having a great season. But Matt Shoemaker was on the mound for the Blue Jays and Martin Perez for the Minnesota Twins. And if you look at ERAs, they're totally different and in favor of the Blue Jays. But it didn't start out so great for the Jays. They do take a 1-0 lead as Alan Hansen hits a sacrifice fly, bringing in Justin Smoke. The Jays got a 1-0 lead. That's just gorgeous. But we've talked about it many times before. You get a run, but then you give up a run as CJ Cron hits a 3-run shot. Polanco and Eddie Rosario. Is it Eddie Rosario? I think they still have Eddie Rosario. I thought they traded him at the deadline or something. No, it's still Eddie Rosario. And those guys come in to score, and it is a 3-1 Twins lead. Matt Shoemaker does not last much longer after that. He went 6 innings, gave up 4 hits, 3 runs, 3 were earned. He walked 4 guys and struck out 4. So he wasn't as dynamite as he's been over the first 3 starts of his season, but he did give you 6 innings of 3 runs or less, which in hindsight looks like a quality start. But the Jays offense really can't get anything going early on, as we've gotten used to seeing. And there were some problems in the game today and some mental things. And I think that's the part where Charlie Montoyo is going to get frustrated. But you know what? As a manager and as I assume he knows there's going to be issues. Like a guy like Alan Hansen not being able to drop a bunt down properly and bunts it right back to the pitcher and literally in the air and it's just a catch and he's out. And I mean, nothing really good comes of that. And then the mistake when Brandon Drury thinks he draws a walk and starts walking to first base. Hernandez starts walking to second. Meanwhile, it's only ball 3. They throw to first and get Hernandez out. Base running mistake by Teoscar Hernandez. I don't care who you are. If you don't even know what the count is, you don't start walking off the base. You might assume so, but if you don't know for sure, you don't leave that base. Because what's the worst thing that can happen if you stay on the base? They tell you to go to second? That's the worst thing that can happen. But instead, he starts walking to first base. They throw him out of first. Not a good play by Teoscar Hernandez, but he did make up for it, and we'll get to it in a second here. We go to the 8th inning. Jays down 3-1. Really nothing else cooking here for the Toronto Blue Jays, but they bring in Mejia on the mound for the Minnesota Twins, the lefty. And Freddie Galvis, Mr. Clutch Albie, this guy's been unbelievable all year long. He hits a single to left field to start off the inning. Then Randall Grichuk doubles to right field off the wall. Galvis ends up at third base. We got second and third, nobody out here. Tying run at second base for Justin Smoke. And he singles to left field over the shortstop's head. Galvis scores. Grichuk to third. Runners on the corners with nobody out. And they bring in Brito to come in to pinch run for Justin Smoke. And thank goodness he didn't come in to pinch hit, because why the heck would he do that? He's a lot better of a runner than Justin Smoke is, so fine, pinch run him. But he didn't really have to run too much, because next batter, Teoscar Hernandez. And in the field and on the bases, clearly we're not so sure about him as of yet. And we know the strikeout totals for Teoscar Hernandez. But as we've talked about him since last year, yes, we know in the field he looks a little iffy. We know strikeouts are a little high. But what we do know, he has an arm in the outfield and he can hit dingers. And he goes down 0-2 and looks kind of long swing, right? He has some long swings to start as a bat. Goes down 0-2. He fouls off like 3 pitches, shortens up a little bit. And then he gets a curveball hanging over the middle of the plate, and he gets barrel the baseball and drills it. I mean, crushes it into left field into the second deck. A 3-run shot. The Blue Jays got a 5-3 lead. They score a 4-run 8th inning, and they're on top 5-3. What a great night for Toronto sports. We haven't been able to say this too often, but there you go. The Blue Jays got a 5-3 lead. This is fantastic. But you gotta hang on to it. And then in the 8th inning, we see Tim Mayza come out for 1 batter. And the big part of this game is right there. The reason I say that, Tim Mayza went down 3-0 on this guy and strikes him out. Big job climbing out of that little hole and getting the strikeout. Only guy he faces, but he gets him. And then Daniel Hudson comes out, goes 2/3 of an inning, gets a strikeout. Attaboy. He's been very, very good over the last little while for the Blue Jays, has Dan Hudson. ERA dropped to 6.14, and not too long ago, it was in the 10s. So there you go. And Joe Biagini actually comes out for the 9th inning for the save. I'm not sure what's up with Ken Giles. I mean, if you guys have any idea what happened with him and why he wasn't pitching. I'm going to go to his profile here and see if why he... No, it's no news. If you guys have any update on why Ken Giles didn't come in to save the game today, please let me know. But Joe Biagini goes out there and goes an inning, doesn't give up a hit, doesn't walk a batter, and gets a strikeout. Joe Biagini gets the save, and the Blue Jays win 5-3. Beautiful. They start off the 4-game swing on a winning note. And my goodness, Jays fans, it looks like we have more people at Rogers Center than the Twins do in their home stadium. I mean, at Target Field. It was bad. I mean, goodness, Hernandez hit the home run into left field. There's one guy chasing the ball. There's no one else in the stands chasing it. There's one guy hopping seats looking for the ball, and no one else is in sight. Yikes. I mean, my goodness. I mean, really, Joe Mauer gone, and that fan base is gone. It's crazy. Crazy to see there. But for the Blue Jays, you take this win, you enjoy it, as much as there's a couple mental mistakes that they got to try and find a way to get through. But there are positives to take from this game today. First off, Sam Gaviglio goes a clean inning, gives up a hit, doesn't walk a guy, doesn't give up a run, strikes out a batter, and he gets the victory in the game today. His ERA 1.64 out of the bullpen has Sam Gaviglio done for the Blue Jays, and he's been fantastic out of the pen. I really, really like him as that long guy, and that guy to give you that middle inning or two, right? I really like that. Like we said, Meza, Hudson, and Biagini, the bullpen did a great job tonight, keeping the Jays in the ball game down the stretch. And look, the 3-1 game is serviceable because the Blue Jays are one of the best teams in the league in 7th inning or later offense. And they were last year, too, and it's really weird because in the 7th inning or later, you're facing some of the best bullpen guys in the league. Now, we haven't faced a guy like Aroldis Chapman and Betances and guys like that. But you look at today, I mean, Mejia for the Twins, I mean, how has he been this year before that debacle of an inning that he had where he gave up 4 runs? Okay, he's been terrible. But I don't know why they're throwing him out there in a 2-run game. But I don't really care because the Blue Jays pounce all over it and they get the victory. Game 2 of the series, guys, goes tomorrow night. Again, 7:40 first pitch like tonight's game. Aaron Sanchez, Kyle Gibson are the starters in that game. The Jays look for the second straight victory, and they look for whatchamacallit. They look for at least the series split. Now, I would love to get a series win out there in Minnesota, and for the Blue Jays, look, you're just trying to find positives in games, right? And we talked about it just now. The bullpen did a good job. You saw a great inning from Biagini, good job by Hudson, Gaviglio, great stuff there. And with the bats, the Jays actually had they had 11 hits in the ball game today. You saw Galvis 1 for 5, obviously with the single to start that rally there in the 8th inning. Grichuk was 3 for 4 in the ball game today. He's now hitting .230 on the year. Great to see that. Justin Smoak was 2 for 3 with the RBI and a walk in the game. Teoscar Hernandez was 3 for 4 with the home run and the 3 RBIs. Great to see for Teoscar. He's hitting .245 on the year. Drury goes 1 for 3. Jansen 1 for 4. But again, the strikeout numbers, they still had 9 Ks in the ball game today. But you know what? The Jays won a ball game. How about we enjoy that for what it is? Because we're not going to expect this to happen on a night-to-night basis. But Toronto fans, and I'm not talking Jays fans, I'm not talking Raptors or Leaf fans. Ladies and gentlemen, the Leafs beat the Bruins. The Red Sox lost. I mean, and the Jays win and the Leafs win. I mean, isn't it just a great night to be a Toronto sports fan? And now we can all go to sleep and relax and just dream about Boston teams losing and Toronto teams winning. Because it doesn't happen too often. But it did tonight. And let's enjoy it, all right? So, guys, you know what? That is going to do it for this one. You guys enjoy this video, and you guys enjoyed the victory there tonight. Smack that like button. I do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below. What'd you think of the game? What'd you think of the video? What were your thoughts on the Teoscar Hernandez at bat? Also, like I said, 3 for 4 in the ball game today. What were your thoughts on him? Also, Matt Shoemaker's outing. Joe Biagini in the closing spot. What'd you think of that? And also, Randall Grichuk, 3 for 4. Earned the contract quite nicely, I see, and I'm loving it from Randall Grichuk. You really want to see him do well, especially with that contract he's got now. And guys, what are your expectations there tomorrow night as Aaron Sanchez hits the mound for the Blue Jays, and he looks to continue to pitch well. Obviously, had that rough inning there against the Boston Red Sox, but overall didn't pitch too bad. But for the Blue Jays, you look for their second straight victory tomorrow, all right? So, guys, like I said, like that video, subscribe, all that great stuff. Comment down below everything about this game tonight. And Evan and I will talk to you. Podcast edition is either this week or next week. With Easter weekend coming up and work and videos and all this crazy stuff going on for all of us, it's really difficult right now to do a podcast. But, guys, check the podcast. Link is in the description below. podcast channel on iTunes. YouTube, or iTunes link is down below as well. Guys, if you have not checked out the main man, Mo Buckets, on Twitter, please do so. Not only is Twitter, but Blue Jays Center on Instagram. He does all that kind of stuff on the most followed Blue Jays fan page on Instagram. 58,000 followers, unless it's been more since I last checked. But amazing stuff, great guy. Please, guys, go follow up on Instagram. Do so, please. And Twitter is also down below, guys. Follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff. And I will talk to you guys Raptors edition tomorrow night as they look to get a win and even up this the 7-game series against the Orlando Magic, as they look to kind of even up the series heading back to Orlando. They really need that win tomorrow at Scotiabank Arena, as the Raptors look to get back into that series. It is a 8 o'clock tip-off there at Scotiabank Arena. And as for the Leafs, like we've talked about in the earlier video tonight, the Leafs take on the Bruins in Game 4 of the 7-game series at Scotiabank Arena on Wednesday night. 7 o'clock puck drop there. The Leafs look to take a 3-1 series lead over the Bruins. But if you lose, it's a 2-2 series going back to Boston. It is going to be a grind, a fight, and is a big game on Wednesday for the Leafs. All right, and as for the Blue Jays, guys, like we talked about, they're going to be taking on the Minnesota Twins in Game 2 of the 4-game series starting tomorrow night, 7:40 first pitch at Target Field. Aaron Sanchez, Kyle Gibson are the starters in tomorrow's game. The Blue Jays look for their 2nd straight victory. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you guys then.